This may seem like a tough sell, but there's a drive to get more women behind the wheel of trucks. The industry is trying to change the image of what's long been considered a male-only profession, as it faces a shortage of skilled drivers. Jessica McCarthy with the story.
Tracy Carter loves life on the road. She's been driving big rigs for more than 10 years.
I couldn't work inside. I enjoy this too much.
And she often turns heads when people see her in the driving seat.
I get a lot of funny looks on building sites when we deliver our products, and then the pressure's on because they're waiting for you to make a mistake or to see if you can actually do it. And that's quite rewarding when you can go in, tip off your load, no mistakes, and drive straight back out again.
Now, of the nearly 26,000 truck drivers in New Zealand, only 1,300 are women. That's 5%, a statistic the industry wants to change.
They're excellent, and many of our operators said they'd like to get more. They prefer them. They find that they're less likely to take risks, sometimes risks that shouldn't be taken. They're easier on the gear and the equipment, and very diligent.
If I say women make better drivers, I'm going to get a lot of stick from my friends. So I think on average we're both the same.
The industry faces a chronic shortage of drivers once Immigration New Zealand removes truck driving from the intermediate skills shortage list in February. And with immigrants making up 15% of its workforce, it needs to plug the gap.
Now we have automatic gearboxes. Technology has really made it a much physically easier job.
Technology that could see more women like Tracy steering the kings of the road. Jessica McCarthy, One News.
I'm not a woman's liver, but I'm a female in a man's transport world, and I respect that. But if a job can be done, why can't we females at least give it a go? There have been many challenges for me in this industry. It hasn't been easy, being a female in this male industry. Prior to starting my own business, I was a transport manager in a company where I had pretty much the freedom to run it as though it was my own. I mostly had all the financial and management control. That meant hiring, firing, buying, sourcing work, meetings with other major transport companies, and whilst I attended these meetings, I was always the only female there. When I first started working for this company, they had 3 trucks. When I left and under my management, the company had grown to 9 trucks and 16 full-time employees in just 3 years. However, there were many roadblocks that the male owner kept putting in my way, mainly due to his gruff attitude and the rude way that he treated people. I was eventually convinced by my sister Karina that I could run a better business, so she encouraged me to take transport.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm a truck driver.
Many women don't consider a career in logistics as viable for them, but one person who thinks they should is Lindsay Hazelhurst, Marketing and Development Director for Wincanton. Lindsay, what do you think is the biggest misconception about women in logistics?
I think probably the most common misconception about women in logistics is to do with the type of jobs and opportunities there are. I think so often the public view and the kind of graduate talent view of logistics is very much around warehouses, trucks, quite a grubby, low-skilled, low-intelligence industry. I think it couldn't be further from the truth. It's a great industry, offering real opportunities to do fantastically interesting work, constantly being challenged. And while there's work to be done around things like helping manage the kind of private side of life, particularly around childcare, actually the opportunities for women to be successful in such a male-dominated industry, for me, have never been greater.
Imagine your wife, your sister, your mom, your girlfriend, and even your grandma behind the wheel of a big rig. There are almost 250,000 female truckers today.
Nobody messes with me. I'm 5'3" of dynamite, basically.
And more are being trained every month.
I don't have competition with women. I could care less whether they drive a truck, push a hammer, or piss in a urinal.
And if there's a stereotype to the trucking female, someone clearly forgot to tell these women.
I can't tell you how many times I heard, you should be at home having babies, be at home baking cookies. Well, guess what? I can make babies in the truck and I can make cookies in the truck.
I love to drive. It's just what I like to do. They say diesel gets in your veins and you can't get it out. And I've found that to be true. I know that I love it. And I love the road.
You know, one of the challenges that we find in the supply chain and logistics industry is the gender imbalance. I'm from Australia, and what we're seeing there is about 80% of the employment opportunities in supply chain and logistics are male. We only get about a 20% female sort of participation in the industry. I think that's pretty sad because we're missing out on a lot of talent. But what we're seeing elsewhere around the world is, and particularly in Australia where I'm based, you know, some of the top people in supply chain and logistics are women. And in fact, some of the organisations that I've worked with have almost been predominantly women. And it creates a really good work culture. You know, women just bring a totally different perspective to business. And you know, it's been really interesting talking to some of the women here who are undertaking training programs. You know, there's a lot of training organisations represented here, and they really seem to be embracing it. So what do you think the future is maybe then for women in this industry?
If I have to look back at this particular event also, yesterday when we were giving away the awards, we had Ms. Chitra Shinde, who won a very prestigious award as the ELSC Women of the Year. Now that is a very good mark of encouragement. Even if we look at the trends, women are stepping out, women are being part of the conferences, and they are understanding that yes, it's the need of the hour, they can be part of this industry and they would love to be part of it. So let's say we start off with 5, it becomes 10, it becomes 15, and then I'm very sure that let's say even 10 or 20 or even 50 years where women will be there. Like I mentioned, it's just going to be a shift of mindset, and when they know they can do it, they will do it. So I think India is going to be there very soon.
So it's great to hear that women want to get into the industry. Do you think there are any barriers there? Is it you know, are there maybe traditional thinking we have to overcome? Or
a barrier will always be there in any culture. And when I have to talk about Indian culture per se, I wouldn't call it a barrier. It's just a mindset that women love to ensure that they be the perfect people who balance work plus home. And women,
I think that's the same everywhere in the world.
Absolutely. And Indian women particularly, they'll be like, I want to devote that amount of time for my work, I want to devote that amount of time for my family. If operational industry per se can ensure that women can be part of the, can also modify to an extent, it'll be great. So I guess there should be a shift, a move from both the ends, from the women as well as the industry, and then it's going to be fantastic. Because I guess the kind of contribution women do is totally amazing.
Oh, it is without a doubt. And it's interesting, in countries like Australia and the States, I mean, a lot of very progressive companies are actively trying to support women in the workplace with, you know, flexible working hours, with childcare at work. You know, there's some new laws coming in Australia with maternity leave and so on to make it more attractive for women.
When I was young, my father was a truck driver. 2 of my brothers are truck drivers. They're both self-employed. Going for spins when I was young in trucks, you know, loved it. One day, my brother said to me, "Get your licence and I'll get you a truck." And I never regret it.
In Tokers, you have a very good truck stop. It's completely orientated towards trucks, showers, toilets, the whole lot. But if you don't come off the main road, there's nothing between there and Erlingford. All over Ireland, we don't have services. We don't have proper services. Anywhere that does, they're orientated towards males. So then we suffer. You're driving at night, there's no facilities, no toilet facilities or anything like that. Very, very few. There's nowhere from once we leave Dublin until we get to Cork to get a cup of coffee if you're driving in the middle of the night.
I think this coffee will actually go down well.
You get the cream trim. Well, I suppose, obviously, it's a male-dominated job, and, you know, but 99% of the guys are going to accept, you know, a female driving a truck. They don't have a problem with it. But at the start now, all right, you'd have, they don't know what way to deal with you, you know. How much slagging, or, you know, can I give a girl, or is she going to start crying on me, you know? But as I said, once you're on the road a while there, then you just start slagging back, and don't take anything personal. As they say, when you leave home, you bring your jacket with you and leave your feelings at home.